The reason I'm here today is I want to share my personal experience with technology over years. Uh, just a summary of who I am. I was a very heavy smoker, a lot of cigarettes every day. And technically, that was how I blew off some steam from work. I used to manage large work, large teams. I used to manage complex projects. And smoking was something I enjoyed, to be very honest with you. I have to say it. But it wasn't the best. And I had a very bad also eating habit. I was in every burger joint you can know in UAE. I had so much junk food every day, and everyone around me just hated. I had to conduct meetings in the smoking room. I had to conduct calls in the burger joints, and that's too much. So pretty much my life smelled like an ashtray, to be very honest. I smoked everywhere. And it didn't bother me. It bothered people around me, and I was fine with it because I was like grinding things. I was professional. I was successful. I took tough decisions. And smoking wasn't really such a bad thing, considering everything good is going on in my life. And, I was also good in technology. I had a lot of experience deploying softwares. I worked with Excel files. Actually, Excel used to be like my bread and butter. I managed everything on Excel and I put my life on PowerPoint. And that's part of being, a corporate rat, I could call it, a workaholic corporate person. And just being good with softwares at that time wasn't really something very mainstream. So many people actually know how to use computers, but not so many of them, like me, put their lives into it. And, part of it is related to my work, and part of it is related to my passion with technology in general. And one day, guys, I went to a random check, health check, and the doctor checked my back and he found a mole. He frowned. It wasn't really a good looking mole. And, from one screening to another, from one clinic to another, from an x ray to MRI, and I was drawn into the whole confusion of what kind of mole is it. Then I took it out. After 4 hours of surgery, I'm in recovery room. And recovery room is not a nice place to be when you are so young and so passionate. You feel like you are, this is not my place. It took me months of recovery and months of comprehending what kind of catastrophe I've been through as a very young professional. It was like, believe that nothing can stop me. And after I finished the rehab and the recovery, to be very honest with you, I went back to work. And guess what happened? I went back to smoking. Every doctor told me don't smoke. Every doctor told me eat well, stop junk food, like have a really good life, enjoy what you're doing. But I went back to smoking. I enjoyed smoking. And it was very interesting to me. The story was interesting. So I started to dig in the psychology of it. And I found a name to what was going on in my life. And it's called cognitive dissonance. Psychologists and philosophers usually use very fancy names to describe things. But, in reality, it's just knowing one thing and doing the opposite. So I know smoking is bad, and I just did it. And I know eating bad, and I just did it. So maybe just a question to all of you. How many people here think that they need to go to the gym and exercise, but they don't? Very good, a lot of people. Maybe I can train you later. And how many people think that they need to eat better, they need to have a better diet in place, but they don't? See, there's a lot of people here who think that they have something to fix, but they continue to do the opposite. And this is, part of my story is when I worked with the large multinationals, and they are so fanatic about long-term planning. I worked with Japanese companies most of my life, and they like short-term because short-term generate money, but long-term was what they generate value out of. So prediction, what's going to happen in the future, etc. And I was called to a very strange meeting, first time. We're gonna forecast or predict the company situation 10 years from now. Was like 10 years? Are you kidding me? That's 10 years from now. I'll be like old. And after I finished that meeting, I went out with a reflection. What if I continue this lifestyle 10 years from now? What could happen? So there is a lot of people who, use logic in a creative way. I use logic in an analytical way. So I needed to put numbers to everything going on in my life. That's part of my Excel obsession. I went to every data source available. I went to the World Health Program. I downloaded data about smoking. I went to the food program. I was all over the internet for 3 months, getting data, crunching it, and trying to work with Excel. And by then, I learned power analytics, regression models, prediction analysis. I was like, I want to put all this data from 1 to 0, and from 1 to 10, and how is this critical? From smoking to bad eating, laziness, lack of sleep, you name it. And I think by now you can think that, yes, pretty much all the numbers were towards the 10. It was critical, red, red, red. I'm in a critical situation 10 years from now. It took me 4 months to see that all my future will be in a bad situation if I continue to do what I do. And I just use simple technology, an Excel file, some open source data, and some models related to math and regressions. But fast forward till today, 2026. Would I be able to use the same time to generate the same result? Definitely not. With this, we carry in our pockets what we call mobile phones. I call them supercomputers. These supercomputers can actually launch a spaceship to the moon because of the large speeding processing power. And we use them to conduct the daily tasks, something really pretty basic. And just recently, we start to download those trillion-dollar mobile applications. We call them AI apps, regardless of the brand. They all are very costly to make. And we ask them simple questions that we can search for them. For example, what is the best company in UAE that does ABC? How can I do something basic? And when I look at my network and myself to start with, do we really need to use these apps in their basic forms while they cost trillions of dollars to make? Some of the apps are really, really costly, but we are using them without thinking of their capabilities. So many apps are now available, of course, for us to use. And back then, I needed 4 months to generate a simple logical resolution of my cognitive dissonance, whether I should continue my lifestyle or quit it. And with today's apps, of course, you guys know, you can just ask any random question, regardless of how complicated it is, and it can summarize data from all over the world, analyze it, and give it to you ready. In today's world, of course, technology becomes something very easy and, like a de facto in our phones, but we really like using it in a proper way. Do you know some of the apps you have on your phones can create a personal trainer at a gym? So you can actually go to gym, you don't need guidance. I myself use a lot of apps today to exercise. It saved me a lot of money, and it also gave me a lot of knowledge. Some other apps, of course, can help us with our diet planning. It can act like your nutritionist. It can actually tell you what to eat and what not, if you only start to converse with it about your goals, about your potential goals in the future, and exactly guide you on what to eat and what not to eat, and calculate it for you. Even some apps actually are occupied with technologies that you can take photos of your dish, and it immediately can tell you what it has and what to eat and what not. So in general, when I look back on how many days and months I spent with tech to reach to my goal, and I look today to how easy it is to use tech to reach what I want, I think we all need to reflect on our usage of our phones and apps. Of course, there is the short way, and there is the hard way. And reflecting on so many speakers today, what they said about speaking with a machine and talking with a human, I think what we need to do with AI is just to understand how to speak to it. So many people are just speaking to it in a plain English, simple English, while a computer doesn't work that way. There is something now called prompt engineering, and prompt engineering is more important than the AI itself because it is the art of speaking to a computer. And if we don't know how to speak to an AI app on our phones, it would never give us the best answer. So for AI and all this craziness, and if I want to talk about my personal journey, I always ask my friends in my network a question. Why do you think we are improving and executing all this advanced technology for? I mean, why companies are racing for the fastest computer, the smartest AI, and all these supercomputers and phones? What is the point? Where is enough? And I always reflect actually on the fact that technology is made to serve us. Technology is made to make our life easier. But it is also made to make us a better version by allowing us more space and more time. And if I circulate on today's technology we use, there is a lot of addiction on consumption, but no understanding of building systems with technology. You see a lot of people using ChatGPT every day like 10 times, or they're using AIs on 10 times, or they're using so many apps all over the day in an addiction fashion. When we learn how to talk to an AI app, it is actually when it becomes a personal technology. I have this term, I call it persotech. And persotech is a term I use with all good technology that serve us as a human being, and technology that makes us feel better and be the best of our personalities. Of course, today, I am smoke-free. I'm a personal trainer at the gyms, and I advocate technology to Gen Z and young kids, how to use these technologies and how to consume this technology to build systems. But to be very honest with you, I think it's regardless of the tool and technologies you want to use to achieve any objectives, it needs to start with a decision. To me, because I used analytical models in my brain and I wanted to measure the effect of what I do on my life, I took a decision after I saw the number. But it doesn't matter if you have a supercomputer or no computer, but you are with no decision. You cannot do anything. So when I decided to change my life, I have actually decided to use technology to help me. You can actually use so many other tools, but you need to take a decision to change your life. In my case, technology was there for me in its basic form. And today, technology is here for you in its super advanced form. So I think we need to reflect on this and use it, because there is no technology or tool that can help you if you don't decide to become better. Of course, with today's situation, I meet people from different nationalities and different backgrounds, and some of them have cognitive dissonance that they know, and some of them, they have cognitive dissonance that they don't know about, but they all share certain fears and certain questions about technology. Is it gonna help me? I don't know how to use it. But the same thing also happens, do I need to go to the gym? I don't know how to exercise. And same thing happens when, do I need to make a diet? I don't know how to make a diet. Like, all this kind of questions are now accessible to one answer, and this one answer is in your pocket. So I encourage everyone to actually look at their phone as a supercomputer and deal with these AI apps as a smart computers and try to use the best potential of it. Thank you so much.